All right, guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is John Hernandez. I am a consultant here at CashSwipe. I've been a part of Paul's team for about 5 years now, helping people create additional stream of income. You are watching Residual Income for Beginners, where we share real stories, experiences, and strategies on how to build residual income. Today, I'm excited to interview one of our power couples, Gabriel, aka Gabe, and Destiny. They're going to share their journey, their experience, and some valuable insights that can help anyone looking to get started. So let's jump right into it. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, man. It's another day, another chance for opportunities, and just a way for us to grow ourselves. I think every day that's what we look forward to doing is trying to get 1% better than yesterday. I think I hear Paul say that a lot, but I
Yeah,
mean, to be honest, it's the God-given truth.
no, I love that. So for people that are watching right now, and this is the first time they're meeting or seeing you guys, yeah, just give them a little bit of backstory about you guys, what you guys did previously, and yeah, where you guys at now?
So I started off, been working since I was 12, 13 years old, hawking newspapers on the side of the building, continue on through high school, played sports, did all that. And straight out of high school, went into the Marine Corps. It was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me. From there, I did about 10 years. I went into a major insurance company here within San Antonio, worked my way up. And then just about a year ago from right now when we're talking, I was looking at different opportunities and different ways to make some residual income and just trying to grow myself. And I ended up finding CashSwipe. So hasn't been quite a year yet, but we're coming up on that 1 year anniversary, which is really cool because I remember where I was this time last year in August. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how time flies. Time flies like that, especially as you get older. I know when I was, when you're in your 20s, you're just like, I want, or when you're younger than your 20s, you're just like, I want to be 18. And then 18 comes, you're like, I want to be 21. And
yeah.
then once you hit 30s, I don't know if you guys are in your 30s, but once I hit 30, I'm just like, man, time is just going. Like, when people ask, like, how old are you, I forget. I'm just like, let's not talk about that right now. But, so what about you, Destiny?
Oh, for me, so I had a career at Best Buy. I started in 2012. Was there for 10 years, worked my way from the bottom all the way to the top. Always knew I wanted to be, the boss woman. So I did
Love
that,
that.
was in management. After that, I tried like real estate, do notaries, anything that I can do. I even tried to build my own clothing line, a little something here and there. Went to USA for a little bit and was not for me. It was a very slow pace answering phones, and we joke about this, right? I was like, the second he told me that he needed my help for me to quit my job, he couldn't. I mean, I couldn't put in my 2 weeks quicker.
It's like I've been waiting for this day. I was dreaming.
Yes.
All right, and then Gabriel, I also forgot to mention, thank you for your service. Thank you for going into the Marines. But all
Appreciate
right.
it, John.
So how'd you guys meet?
How do we meet? Had a lot of the same mutual friends. We went to high school together, and then life happened. 20 years ago. I mean, what it was about 8, 9 years ago now. Just kind of reached out, social media. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Want to meet me at the bar? Sure. One thing led to the next. Something that I thought was gonna be quick and simple ended up, it's almost going on 10 years now.
Hey, so you guys were now you guys were building a life. Now you guys are building a business together. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
All
right? Like
right.
how time we talk about time flies. So
Time does definitely fly. I kid you not. It's crazy. I'm like my two daughters are they're both in high school already. They're 1 year away from graduating. So it's like, damn,
my daughter
years
just went to
just
middle school, man, and I'm like, I don't even think I've fully embraced it yet, but she's there, and yeah, I'm like happy, sad for her, all of the above. I don't know, but I know she's figuring it out. She's really bright, and then my son's in fourth grade, man, and they're just growing. And then she, of course, has her daughter in college, and then she has a son in high school right now. So we got kind of spread out.
Yeah.
yeah, it's good, man. It's good, but it's like then they sit back and it's just like, man, like where did the time go? My kids are starting to drive, or they want to drive, getting their permits ready. So it's a little scary. I have two girls, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm ready. All right, guys. So what made you guys start looking for something different?
Man, to be honest, and I'm gonna be real, and I'm hopefully somebody can relate to this. Working at USA, we did what was called agile, and man, again, keeping it real and trying to be honest, I would be reading ESPN articles or just reading whatever I wanted to on the internet, and somebody would reach out on Slack or whatever DM we were using, and I laugh about it now, but man, back then I would get frustrated. Like, what do you want from me? I'm reading whatever article. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make is I wasn't happy with what I was doing, right? Like my mind was elsewhere when I should be focusing on the project at hand, working with my team. Um, but I was checked out. I was reading, like I said, ESPN, sports, catching up, fantasy on my phone, whatever. I'm like, you know what? I'm not happy. I'm making good money, but I'm not happy. I need to figure out what else is out there for me. So I started researching. I looked at like vending machines. I looked at
Mm.
ATMs. I had a couple of calls with a few different people. Just seemed good, but just wasn't something that was calling my name, so to speak. And I don't know if you want to speak on that too, but yeah, and I came across I guess the algorithm, right? CashSwipe popped
Yeah.
up. I came across Paul Alex. I started doing my own research. I started looking, and to be honest, man, again, this goes back to about a year from now. They were advertising for one of the masterminds out in Dallas. Well, it's only
Mhm.
about a couple hour drive from me. I looked at her and I was like, well, this is something that we want to do. Let's take the chance and go up there and see what it's all about. I had a couple of onboarding calls with a few different reps, who kind of talked to me about the program. And immediately I felt like this was something I could do. It was something that I could click with. And I kind of saw the vision. Nobody
Mhm.
promised me any rainbows and butterflies, I'll tell you that. But at the same time, I just really felt like this was an amazing opportunity. The way of the world is shifting. Everybody uses credit card. I know I don't like carrying cash on me. I know when I
Yeah.
go to places, I pay with a credit card just due to convenience, right? So in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, what they're saying makes sense because I go to places and I don't even bat an eye. I see it and I'm like, well, that's just the way of the world, right? So I kind of segue that opportunity and mindset and said, you know what? I see the vision that they're talking about in terms of credit card processing and how this can be, something that could be a benefit to us, right, in terms of residual income. So that's my take on it. I'm not sure.
No, I
And then
mean the
really,
same. We did have a lot of questions at the very beginning. We would
yeah.
always go back and forth, like, is this real? How does it work? And things like that. There was a lot of back and forth at the very beginning.
Mhm. So really quick, you guys, before actually becoming a client, you guys went to the Dallas event without being clients. You just went to the event to, see us in person, talk to clients, or were you guys already onboarded?
We were onboarded for like 2 days, man. Like really, like we
Oh, okay.
were, but it was still so new, and we were hot and heavy, and
That's
we were
perfect.
onboarded, but we
Honestly.
went to the event, and yeah, it kind of happened. It was at the end of August, but then I think the Cash Swipe event Mastermind class was like September 4th or 5th of last year. I
Hmm.
don't remember the exact date, but it was within the same week.
Yeah, and
Okay,
and
so you
we
guys were,
go back to this. Before this, we had a meeting with Hugh on the phone, a video call, and we were still like, "Oh, is this real?" Well, it so happened that when Hugh signed on, his camera didn't work, and I
oh,
looked at him, and I'm like,
Wait, that's not a good first start.
"Yeah, his
right.
camera was like, oh my
What was his
goodness."
excuse? What was his excuse? It wasn't working? Was it his Wi-Fi, or was it just like, what did he say?
Was it just not working? I don't
I
remember.
don't remember exactly. I actually kind of forgot about that until you brought it up right now.
And
Yeah.
I was like whispering to him, like, "This isn't real. Like, how can this camera all of a sudden not be working?" So yeah, it was funny at the time, but it was real. He was a real person.
Yeah. He's bigger than when he looks, right? In person, he's a big guy, right?
Yeah, yeah, he was tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first met Hugh, it was just like, damn, I didn't think you were that tall. That guy's almost tall as Paul. Paul's a tall guy as well. But that's a funny story. So you guys jumped on the call, his camera wasn't working, you guys were just like, oh man. But what made you overcome that, because any other person or even myself, I'll be like, this is weird, right?
Mhm.
What made you guys feel more? What made you guys feel comfortable, or how'd you get over that fear?
I think there was just constant communication, which, that's just goes to speak towards CashSwipe, and we'll get into that here in a bit, because it really has allowed me to put all my trust, faith, and confidence nowadays into CashSwipe. I'm not saying it wasn't there then, but Q was
Hmm.
really key in communicating constantly, checking on us. It was very personable when we were on the phone. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I like about CashSwipe is they try to get to know us as individuals first, see what we're about. Kind of like the way you jumped on the call earlier. We talked about kids, we talked about just different things, and then obviously we talked about business and stuff like that. So I think for me that was it. I'm not sure if that was
Mhm.
it for her, but I think it was just the constant communication and then just really like finding some equal ground and then kind of joking from there.
What would you say your biggest concern was before joining? Besides the camera, I know that's one.
For me, honestly, uh, I guess how much it cost to be a part of the program, right?
Hmm.
For me, it was a pretty significant investment. I wasn't sure if it was the right thing. I knew I was going to take a gamble. I knew it was going to be a risk, so to speak, right? Because I just wasn't 100% sure. For me,
Hmm.
that was me personally. I'm not sure again for her, but that was probably my biggest, I wouldn't say concern, but one of the things where I wanted to be a little bit cautious on and how is this going to work and how are we going to get our return on investment, so to speak. So,
I
uh,
think my whole thing was pretty much going all in, and that was a choice that we had made. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, leaving my job, going all in. I mean, we have 4 kids together. We have 2 houses. So we had a lot to take care of. But our biggest thing was hitting the ground really, really hard, and that gave me a lot of security there. But that was my fear at first, was we were all in from the start.
Okay. And then just going back to, like, going all in finances, because it's a lump sum. Like, we're not cheap. We promote it. We're not the cheapest out there, but we do have the blueprint. We have the structure. We have the foundation. But what was your guys' turning point? Where just like, you know, we got to do it.
or we got to do it. I think I was just ready to do something outside of the norm. I was ready to
Hmm.
take a chance. I was ready to be a part of something bigger than myself. And to be honest, I was just looking for an opportunity. And I told myself, because I've done this before, right? I've started poverty growing up, whether it be in the Marine Corps, starting a new job somewhere. Like, okay, you're at where you're at in life, you're content. Do you really want to start over? Do you really want to jump into a new career field or a new business and then kind of work your way up? And then to me, I had to just look at some of those moments in my life where I did face that adversity and then kind of use that as a benchmark to say, you know what, I've done this before. I've been successful and I can do it again. This is no different. It's just all about applying yourself. And so for me, it was just having that confidence in the back of my head that I know that if I put in what is expected of me from within myself, that I was
Hmm.
going to be successful. So, because I could easily say that my nerves weren't all the way calm until I actually went to the cash swipe event. But before that, what allowed me to pull the trigger was just the self confidence that I had in myself.
Well, how was the event? Like, what you guys like coming into the event? You guys just, you know started the business, and you're 2 days in. Again, we're just going to go based on 2 days, and then you came to the event. What was your experience like at the event? Like, talking to real clients, meeting Paul in person, meeting everybody. But how was that experience?
So this is where my loyalty factor comes in. I'm a very loyal person to a fault, especially if somebody goes out of their way for me. But we show up to the event, man, and he recognized us right off the bat. Uh, got to socialize a little bit. Cool, whatever. We got to hear a few guest speakers. That was really cool. But I think we were still timid as far as interacting, being social. Hugh walks up to us. He's like, "Hey, have you met so and so? Have you met so and so?" So he goes around and he's introducing us. We got to meet John Sarabia, and man, we clicked right off the back. We're talking about just different aspects of payment processing, the works. Okay. And then I see Paul Alex, right? And, you know, I don't want to say he's a larger than life figure, but, you know, he does a lot of the marketing for CashSwipe. He's really out there. And in my head, he's a really, really busy individual. So Hugh says, "Hey, let me go introduce you." I'm like, "Nah, it's cool, man. Like, we're good, whatever." He's like, "No, come on." Like, Hugh, you know. So we go and meet Paul, and man, I'm telling you, I know how busy he is. This wasn't scheduled. I know they stick to a T when it comes to the guest speakers and the program and what they got going on. But he sat down and spoke with us for 30 minutes, and we did not talk about payment processing one bit. We talked about upbringing. We talked about life. We talked about how he was raised. He listened to us and learned about us and how we came to the program and how we were raised and how we have our kids, man. And so it really just hit an emotional spot for me because that let me know that it wasn't just about payment processing. It wasn't just about getting into this business and trying to make a quick buck or anything like that. Was really genuine. And so it went from seeing him on the internet, almost like an infomercial, to then seeing them in person, almost like this larger than life figure, to then just sitting down and talking to him and him just talking to us like we were regular people. And so I think that right there is when we were driving back home. I'm like, all right, we're doing this. We did the right thing. Like this is we're gonna freaking rock and roll. So that conversation right there meant everything to us. I don't know if I've shared that story with him or if he even knows that, but yeah, he took the time out of his busy schedule to sit and talk with us when he was being pulled in a million different directions. So that meant a lot.
No, I love that. And Paul, you know, he's a genuine guy, really humble guy, easy to talk to, and he'll do that for anybody. And especially because at the end of the day, we care. We want to see people win. We want to see our clients win. Because if you guys are not winning, we're not doing our part. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help everybody grow and make sure that they're getting the support that we offer. Because if you guys are not winning and you guys are not growing and you guys are not, you know, going out there and making this business work, then we're not doing our part. But what about for you, Destiny? How was it with you when you talked to Paul, the event? How was that experience for you?
At the beginning, it was a little nerve-wracking, right? Because it's like new territory, a whole bunch of people. And I mean, but I felt the same way when we did sit down with Juan. He was the one that was like, "Hey, let's go sit down. Let's go sit down." Yeah. We were like, "Oh, okay," you know. And it was very like homey, very family-like. So and we left there, but you know, all smiles and you know, like he said, very loyal, and so it was good.
Love that. And I know, because I seen you guys, I recognize you guys, and you guys, as soon as after the event, you guys started getting you guys got your accounts pretty quick, right? Your first account, or am I wrong?
Yeah, it was probably so after the LLC set up, right? You go through all the modules, you do all the training with CashSwipe, you get your relationship manager. So that took a few weeks, right? So I really do say that we started like September 20th or September 21st, because that's really when we were set free. And I would say within the first 2 to 3 weeks, we started getting our accounts from there.
Nice. So how hard was it getting your first account? Like,
to get the first account, I don't want to say it was difficult, because we could have sat there and pretended like we knew everything or didn't know everything and kind of made excuses. I told her like, no, we need to start going out there. And man, we were so eager. We were making like mock flyers because we couldn't talk to anybody. But I knew the moment that we had the opportunity, we were just going to go beat feet and start talking to people. I wouldn't say getting the first account was difficult, more so than the onboarding of the very first merchant, right? Because it's the first time we got somebody to have that verbal commitment, getting them onboarded. This was a little bit of a unique situation because it took us like 2 weeks to get the EIN number. He calls us, you know, he's like, "Hey man, I have this guy that wants to use a credit card. Can you get me the machine tomorrow or whatever?" I'm like, "You still haven't gotten us the EIN, man. Like, we need that information." So I think that was probably more of the difficult part, was to learn the onboarding process and what it takes to get an actual merchant from yes all the way through to now he's actually processing. So there's like different levels there, right? And we didn't know everything that entailed. We
didn't.
We figured it out as we were going. I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, we figured it out as we were going.
But that's just how it is. You know, you go out there and you figure it out. Because in the day, it's just building a relationship. You're talking to a business owners. You're not. I'm a big believer in. We're not trying to sell the business owner anything. We're just offering a solution to save them money. That's it. We're not reinventing the wheel. They already have the credit card machines. They're already using them. They're just paying these fees that they're unaware about. And some of these business owners are not just paying the 3%. They're paying hidden fees. They're paying per transaction fees. They're paying miscellaneous fees. Like, they just make up a fee, and if you don't question it, it's like your cell phone bill. If you don't question it, they're just going to keep charging you. You'll have these $199 charges, and then I used to be in the cell phone industry, so I know people say, like, what is those? Like, I was like, I don't even know. It's just, let's take it off. Let's take it off.
It's funny you say that, man, because now I pay attention to everything. I'm like, even if it's a cell phone bill or whatever, I'm like looking at all the different fees now, just because our minds are so programmed to figure out what it is that we can and can't do for some of the merchants that we speak with. So we're always on the lookout, and we even let them know, hey, be on the lookout for X, Y, and Z fee. Oh, okay. They're very appreciative of it. It allows us to have that open communication next time we come visit them, because then we're building that trust, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that, when you see a miscellaneous, that's like, what really is this? Because they're just tacking on this fee for no reason. It just doesn't make sense. And again, if you don't know, you don't know. You're just gonna think that's the normal. So so just to bring a little competition in this, do you guys challenge each other on like who could get more accounts, or you guys are just like, okay, you go this one, I go this one? Do you guys have a strategy on what accounts to approach? Like, it's either me or it's either going to be Destiny or Gabriel or Destiny? Just curious.
I wouldn't say it's competition, more so we try to use each other's strengths, right? So we have this one merchant they do car tent windows. And so the owner, they're a married couple as well, but man, you would swear they were like best friends as far as like the wife and then her as well too, in terms of like the texting, and they chat about kids. They don't even chat about business. It's about like kids and going back to school and this, that, and the other, and getting ready. And she's like, oh, Leslie texts. I'm like, oh, is everything okay with the account? Like, no, it's just girl talk. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Okay, cool. So it can be like that. And then there's other, when we first started, like I'd have her go into the nail salons and I'd go into the auto body shops. We really try to play off that power couple kind of vibe, right? If we went in there, man, what I come to find out, especially, and it's crazy, right? Even in the auto body shops, yes, you have the male, the husband, right? They're probably is grinding and wrenching and just owning and doing everything. But every time we would make these conversations happen and we talk about payment processing, always interested, right? But it's like, I got to talk to my wife because she's really the one that, makes the financial decisions when it comes to this stuff. So, we would learn and adjust and kind of build from there. And then we would kind of spin that back on them, and we would make it into a joke. Like, yeah, I'm out here, but it's really her that does this. So trying to find that common ground. So it was more of morphing the conversations into what to expect. But obviously that came with reps, right? We had to talk to others to get here. And I tell her all the time, if I was having this exact same conversation 6 months ago, I would have given up, or I would have said, you know what, thank you for your time, I appreciate it. Where now I'm all like, well, tell me a little bit more. Like, okay, well, what's going on? Okay. And so I joke about it because it's funny, because I remember the conversations I was having where I was like, whatever, her shoulder slumped down, kind of felt defeated, walked out. Where now I'm like, no, I see it as an opportunity to really figure out what's going on, and then turn it into a conversation where we can actually help something that they don't even know exists sometimes, right? So
no, I love that. You're using each other's strengths, and that you just dropped some now for going to the mechanic shops, and you're talking to the husband, but then the wife is the one that actually moves the paper, and that's normal. Usually the wife handles the finances, moving parts, so that's when you come in and deliver, and then you guys become best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is with that.
So let's talk about the support wise, because obviously when you first started, there's a little thing that there's I don't want to say there's a lot, but there is a lot to go through, because you're learning a brand new business, a brand new structure, a little bit of everything. So how was the support when you guys first started?
It was new and unique, not because the support wasn't there, but I would probably say if anybody is watching this, make sure that you're going through the modules and you're watching them and not clicking through them or multitasking and doing something else, because there was a lot of times where we reach out for support and the answers were right there in the training. And I was like, oh man, okay. Um, I get that, but man, I really want to help this merchant, right? So it was a combination of us kind of figuring it out on our own, but also trying to deliver and be with the merchant at the same time and learning how to gap that patience, right? She would make fun of me all the time. You need to stop over delivering or under promise or over promising and under delivering. I'm like, yes, we could do
Mhm.
that, this, that, and the other, right? So I think it was more of us tempering ourselves, taking a step back and getting back to the training. Once we got more aligned with the training, how things worked, then the support became a lot more beneficial in terms of like reaching out to Paybotics, in terms of reaching out to key players. I would say very, very instrumental. I've reached out to John Sarabi, and I try not to do this because I know he's extremely busy and it's not something that I saying should happen all the time. But there's been 3 times where I was like in a bind and I needed an answer for something. And within 30 minutes to an hour, he either got me an answer, or he figured it out, or took care of whatever it is I needed taken care of within a business day or two. And so then it goes back to that trust factor. Like, okay, this
Yes.
guy's extremely busy. He's talking to so many people. He's the CEO of Paybotics. He's doing 1,000 different things, but never once have I ever got that vibe from a relationship manager, from a coach, from John Sarabi and Paul Alex himself, because we've had the opportunity to speak with him a couple of times since we started doing this. Never once did I get the vibe that somebody was too busy or that we were too small or that what we had was not as important as what we were making it seem to be. Everybody took what we had and then provided us direct support, gave us feedback, and then also gave us uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like ways to go about handling that situation if it were to come about, a following time or if it were to come up again. So it wasn't just, hey, let me help you. It's like, hey, let me help you. We've got this figured out. Hey, if you run into this again, either do this, this, and that, and then you can avoid these pitfalls. And so I think every opportunity we had to speak with somebody was like that.
And then just to kind of piggyback on that as well, like again, the support was great. It was always there. I'm very hands-on. So I mean, I was there studying YouTube videos. I was there going back to all the videos. I was studying those statements, going back to
Yeah.
everything. And I would come to him and I would tell him stuff. So the support is great, but we also had to go and do our work as well. So
No, I love that because again, you're excited, you're starting something new, and it's funny that you said you're going through it, but we tend to skip things. Like I'll give you a perfect
yeah.
example. My wife gives me a hard time. Like say I think it's just the guy thing. We're gonna build something. We get it in the box. We do it. We check. I don't need the instructions. I'm just gonna look at it and try to put it back together.
Yeah.
I already see her going like, and I'm just like, okay, I get to a certain point, then I get stuck. And then he comes to find out, it was the answer was right there, but I'm just skipping through it. I don't know if it's just a guy thing, but same concept with this. We get excited, but we have a process that works. That you just go through the
Yeah.
process, the module, training, the coaching, and it's there. But it's okay. You're not the only ones. Just so you know, you're not the only ones.
Yeah.
It happens. People want to go out there and start making money because that's what it's all about. It's building a business, building some passive income, and going to that next level, leveling up, and changing your life. Because this is an opportunity to change your life. But just like anything, there's work to be done. It's not a quick rich scheme. There is work to be done, but with the guidance and support, it's there for everybody. So now that you guys are at 27 accounts right now, how do you guys feel? What does that feel like?
A little surreal, right? I remember our first count, and I'm like, man, if we can only get to 5, right? Like we were always giving ourselves milestones. All right, let's get to 10. Like, man, what do we got to do? I remember being at 8, being at 9, stuck at 9. Like, oh, what do we got to get to do? So now that we're in the high 20s, early 30s, now it's just a
Love
matter
that.
of okay, now we're building an army, right? So I don't look at one merchant as um, just them by themselves. It's we treat it like a business and we look at them as a family. And what I mean by that is when we go into our CRM and we're looking at all of our merchants, it's like a collective team effort, right? Maybe they don't know we see them like that, but we see them as a team, and together they're working to do their sales and their credit card processing to then actually build those numbers that, in terms of what they're processing for the month. We add them up and those numbers are what they are. But I think it's a very surreal kind of thing, right? Because I remember when we were at 1 or 2 and like, man, how can we get to 5? All right, we're at 7. Like, how can we get to 10? And then you start to hit I've heard Paul Alex has said this. You'll get to a certain point, and then it's called the snowball effect. Man, we weren't doing anything different, right? The first couple of months, it was kind of like, we would get one here and there, we get stuck, someone would get rejected, nature of the game. And then once March hit, which, September, let's say October to March, that's about 4 to 5 months. Again, we weren't doing anything different. All of a sudden, the people that we had been talking to for months were starting to come through. And then now we're going 3, 4, 5 a month. And then the following month, same thing, 3, 4, 5 a month. And some of those were referrals from other ones that we had helped in the past. And so then that starts to grow. So if you ever look at our social media, man, we're always out there. We're always putting ourselves out there. But I would say a good majority of what we have done have either been through a connection of some sort, from our own network, or somebody that we've worked with, or somebody that didn't even go with us in terms of merchant services, but they recommended a friend who they thought may need it, and they ended up going with us. So it's like, man, we really went to go pitch this one person. They didn't go with us. Bummer. They text us 2 or 3 days later. Hey, my friend's getting into this business. I give them your information. They end up signing with us. So it's just, you got to kind of put in the work in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it just starts to roll, right? Not that it gets easier.
Yeah.
Just different, you run in, now you got more accounts, right? Now you got different things you got to deal with, but it's at the same time, it's like, okay, it's a blessing. This is what we asked for. This is what we wanted. So again, to go back to your question, to me, it feels very surreal. Like sometimes I'm like, wow, like I got to pinch myself.
So what is your guys' next goal? You guys are already there. You guys, again, you said you're looking to let's get my first account, then 3, then 5, then 9. Now you're at, close to 30. What's your next one?
At 50 is what I really want. Eventually I want to have 100 to 300, right? I want to use that to then kind of leverage into different opportunities and different business ventures. But right now I'm really dedicated to doing this, and I really want to make sure that we are comfortable to the point where we can just do what we need to do, check on our merchants when we need to check on them, continue to build those relationships, and then kind of expand from there. But man, I think my goal right now is to get to that 50 number mark, just to say that we did. I don't have any rhyme or reason why.
Yeah,
I just know it's possible.
It's bragging rights, because at the end of the day, everybody has their own goal. People are looking, some people want to make an extra, $1,000 a month, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. So we were just looking to get one account a month to until they retire for the next 3 years. But everybody has their own goal. But for you guys, because you just said that the residual income is like you're comfortable, but like what has changed for you guys now that you guys have these accounts, now that you guys are making this passive residual? What's changed for you guys personally?
As far as what's changed, to me, it's just doing more things with my kids that maybe I would have not said that I wouldn't have done before, but probably would have been too tired to want to do. But still, you got to go ahead and do them anyway. What I mean by that is my daughter's in cheer, my son's in swim. They got practice, they got school. And so I know when I was working the 9 to 5, it's just like, I got to do this or whatever after work, where now I know if my daughter has practice tomorrow, I can kind of tailor my schedule to what I need to do. I'm not stressed about anything else because I've handled my business. We've been putting in this work for months. So it's just as simple as me going to pick her up, taking her to practice, taking her out to dinner, bringing her back, and, getting ready for the new set of challenges that are to come for the next day. So to me, again, it goes back to having more time with my kids. Okay, let me take that back. Maybe the stress. It's a different
Now we're
kind of
getting
stress
deep.
because
We're pulling the onion.
yeah, like, because you're striving for success, so it's a different kind of stress that you put on yourself, but it's not that kind of stress where like I gotta get up, I gotta
Mhm.
get in my car, I gotta drive to the job, I gotta deal with so and so today, like I gotta do XYZ, and so I would say that's probably the biggest change is knowing that I have a different mental mindset when it comes to life and an outlook, right? I don't want to say I was a pessimistic person when I was at work, but man, if you talk to me at 7:30 in the morning and I hadn't had my cup of coffee, I hadn't eaten my breakfast yet, chances are you're probably going to get like a 1 to 2 word, like, hey, good morning or whatever, versus like a happy, jovial smile. Like, I need my caffeine. I need to wake up. So that's probably been a good change for me is the mental stressors are a lot alleviated, I would say, to speak.
I love that. And for you guys that don't know, my daughter's in cheer as well. Cheer is expensive. They need their box, their uniform. Those little pom poms cost a lot of money. I'm just like, what the heck? But with things that you just said right now, time. You got control of your time. So that's huge. A lot of people don't have control of time. They're still, again, there's nothing wrong working your 9 to 5 because, we had to we had to do something to get where we want to be at. But time, control of your time. Second thing is, a weight lifted off your shoulders. Like you said, you're not stressed. You're just, doing what you need to do. You already got the job done. You put in the work these past few months, and now you're reaping the benefits of it. But what about for you, Destiny? What's changed for you?
I mean, mine's the same, right? I've been a single mom ever since, my kids were born. So being able for like example, for this weekend, I get to move my daughter into her dorm, her sophomore year at the university, and I don't have to request off. I don't have to make up those hours or put PTO. My son's in football. I can go ahead and do that with him. And just for me, being a hopeless romantic, I got to learn a whole new side of him. But
That's
it's been a blessing. It really has. The whole journey, I want to say in a short time, even though it's already been a year, it's been
mhm.
incredible. And then being able and knowing I'm going to provide that generational wealth for my kids, their kids, and so on, and no telling what comes next after this. It's been great.
No, I love that. And building generational wealth for your kids, it's amazing because you're building something they can hand off to them, and they could continue to it because there is no cap on how big you can make this. There is no there is no ceiling, and that's another thing. I can relate because my two kids, they're both in high school. If they do decide to go to college or whatever they decide to do, they could continue this business and grow it. Like for instance, my one of my plans is to get each because it's getting the time where they're about to start driving. So if I need to get them a car, well, I'm gonna have to get them a car. I'm gonna figure that out, but
Yeah.
my goal is and 3 accounts each. One will cover their gas, one will cover their car payment, and one will cover their insurance. And I'm gonna tell them, but I'm gonna help them do it. And I'm gonna tell them like, hey, if you want a nicer car, you got to get another account. And it's just gonna show them responsibility, show them the business. And if they do decide to go to college, going to college, it's just it's hard work, learning. And if they do want, you still need to make money. So if they do get a part-time job, they could just get an account because getting a part-time job or getting an account, it's better to get an account because you're not trading time for money no more. You're just putting in that work, reaping the benefits because they're probably going to get paid. You know, college students probably get work maybe what 20 hours a week. I don't know. Again,
Yeah.
anybody correct me if I'm so they could just get in 1 or 2 accounts and they don't have to worry about making money. So that's something that we could pass on to our kids. But all right, guys. I guess outside of money, what has been you guys' biggest win besides the cash flow?
So for me
Being
personally, this just happened this past week. Right. I think when I first started doing this, you see that there's other merchant service providers that are out there nationwide, and you
Mhm.
almost get a little territorial, or you almost get a little, I want my piece of the pie, and it's just one of those things where some angst, right? Because still trying to get your first couple of accounts. Once you get out there, you start to realize there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's more than enough for everybody to eat, and there's just massive opportunity. So I say this to say is there's another person who joined CashSwipe here in San Antonio, and he does real estate and he does a few other things, man. And he kind of had fallen off with it, but I remember when we reached out, we synced up just because I want to learn from others and I want others to learn from me and to really grow with one another. Well, he had been reaching out, for several weeks. We just chit chat. We went to go eat some lunch, whatever. And then so this past week, he's like, man, I have this guy. What do I do? What do I do? So I'm there coaching him through the phone. I'm there, texting him. Day or two goes by. He's like, man, I followed up. Like, he said he would get to it Sunday. It's do I message him? Do I do what? I was like, no. If he said he would get to it Sunday, just give him that opportunity again. Just kind of putting his mind at ease. Sunday rolls around, Monday rolls around, and he gets him to sign up, and he gets his first account. And man, like to me, this goes back to when I used to be in the Marine Corps. I can have all the success, I can have all the accolades, I can have everything, right? But there's no greater feeling that I've ever experienced personally than me sharing my knowledge with somebody else, them taking that knowledge and then being successful with it. So that just happened like Monday or yeah, it just happened like 2 days ago. And
That's
so
awesome.
that made me excited because, it's like I wasn't helping somebody else in another city and state. Not that I wouldn't because I have before. It was just the fact that I learned that one, there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's a lot of opportunity. There's more than enough for everybody to eat. So I kind of took that from an internal perspective and changed it around from an introspective win, looking from within and just saying, okay, that's something that was maybe naive or I didn't have to think that way at the time. And then also helping somebody else to get their first account and how hearing him and how excited he was and just kind of leaning off one another and me just being so happy and like I don't know if I was more happier than he was, but he was excited. I mean, she heard him on the phone, so that was a big win for me.
No, that's huge. That's 100% huge. What about you? What about you, Destiny? Because I'm gonna
So,
announce something because I know we talked about this earlier.
okay, I think my biggest win is kind of like multiple things, but it's meeting the people that I've already met, people that have been, I thought was just going to be this partnership turned into friends, turning into family, people that I can trust. And also pretty much finding myself again, who I am, who I can be, and what I can grow into. And that leads me to teaching my kids a whole other person, and hopefully they can learn from all of that, right? Because growing up, they knew me as this independent single mom, but now it's like so much bigger than that, if that makes sense. But the biggest thing is who I've met along the way.
No, I love that. And we're big on culture. So, like you said, business partners to friends to now family. And I tell anybody that does join us, I'm like, well, once you become a client, your family, that's one. Two, you're
Yeah.
stuck with us. So we're always gonna be there. If you want to do this business for a year or 2 years and you just stop and you want to come back, we will still be there to help you guys out. Love that. So another thing, I know this just happened on August 11th, I believe. You are officially going to be one of our newest coaches.
Yes. No, I was a little taken back by it, but not in a bad way. More so like, oh wow, like. And again, this goes back right, and I don't know how much John or even Paul Alex remembers, but I remember sitting there, and again, it goes back to you having a mindset and setting goals, and what are your next goals, and this, that, and the other. So I kid you not, this is a year ago in September. I'm sitting across from Paul Alex, and I was like, you're gonna hear my name a lot. Is one the first thing I told him. You're gonna hear my name, I promise you. And who knows, I may even be a guest speaker at one of these conferences in the future because that's in my mind. That's something that I was like, you're good. This is gonna happen, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you. And now it's going on a year. Got presented with this opportunity to do the coaching. I'm like, man, that is really cool because in some ways it's like a form of acknowledgement, but it's also me giving back to others. And then it goes back to that win that I shared earlier and being able to kind of, I guess, scale it right into a bigger,
Mm-hmm.
more opportunistic. And then next month at the conference in Phoenix, or I guess in Arizona. I'm actually going to be one of the guest speakers or be a part of that panel. So, I mean, again, I'm not saying that I manifested it or called it out, but maybe I did, because
No, you
I
did.
told.
You speak it into 100%. You did. Give
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
so
you 100%. So a cool thing is that, sorry to interrupt you, but a cool thing about it, but the way we look at it is all our coaches, they're not just some random person off the street. There are clients that went through the process, followed the process, built a successful business, and got an opportunity to share with others. And I'm super excited to have you on board. That's awesome. And you speak it into existence. You said it, you did it, now it's becoming reality. And I say this all the time. And to be an entrepreneur, you have to be, saying you're delusional, but you have to be somewhat delusional to do this, to do anything. So, and again, and until it's proven, look where you are now. A year later, you're a coach. Now you're speaking on stage. Now you're really stuck with us. Both
no,
are.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the opportunity. Trust me, man. I'm really, really excited. No, when you talk about being the delusional, I think part of it is you have to. So this is another funny story, right? I just want to quickly share, because I don't know that we could have had two separate identities. When we first started doing this, it's like, man, we have our personal lives and then we have our account, and trying to separate the two, it just wasn't working. Like, we had like this alter ego. We created this like fake, profile name or whatever. Like, we just weren't sure how to handle things. And this is kind of embarrassing, but after like 2 or 3 weeks of doing this, it's like, no, we have to be merchant services, and that's who we are in order to be successful. That has to be part of our identity. So
Mm-hmm.
we are DNG Solutions, and we kind of took that and we just made it into ourselves, versus like, so it was weird because we were doing like some meta ads and some other things, and that old name that we had used to create as like an alter ego kept popping up, and we couldn't figure out how to take it off, man. But the point that I'm trying to make is that we really had to believe in ourselves and make it part of our identity. And I believe that's what allowed us to be successful, is kind of dropping our guard and saying, no, we are merchant services and we are going to do this, and we are going to make a name for ourselves. And we can't do it by separating the two. Like, the two had to come together, like Gabriel and Destiny and who we are, and merchant services, and then kind of embodying it and embracing it. So yeah, that, I mean, you say it's delusional, but no, man, it's just believing what it is that you're working with.
I love that. So someone that's watching this now and they're interested into CashSwipe, but they're scared to take their first step, what would you say to them?
You want to go first on this one?
Pretty much, you got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. I mean, what do they say? Scared money don't make money.
No, percent.
You know what I'm saying? So it's real. That scared feeling is real. We've been there, but we took that chance.
So,
and at some point, that you'll stop being scared, and then you'll stop asking yourself, why didn't I do this sooner?
So for me, it's about not manufacturing an excuse. So I always told myself I wanted to own my own business, but I'll wait till I'm 50, right? And I think I told myself that because it gives me time. Like, oh yeah, 50 is far away, and two, it just doesn't allow me. It doesn't allow me to hold myself accountable. And so, what I was getting at is, I think I was making excuses. So what I would tell somebody is, do not make an excuse for something that you can do today by putting it off for the future, because the further you put it off, like she said, the sooner you're going to realize, like, man, I wish I would have done this sooner. And I talk to friends and family, and I tell them where we're at now. They're like, man, just imagine where you'll be at in 2 years. Just imagine where you'll be at in 4 years and 5 years. And I'm like, man, yeah, like, you're right. And so to put it off any further, I think would have been a disservice to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so for us to take that leap of faith, take it and put it into action, have the support that we've had, not only from CashSwipe, but a few friends and family, I think has been very meaningful. Because I was, at first it's like, I'm not sure what people are going to think of this. I'm not sure what so-and-so is going to say. but if you believe it, you own it, and I'm telling you, it's life changing.
Love that, guys. And you guys are hearing it first. All right, so we are coming to the very end. Once again, Gabe and Destiny, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for sharing your journey, your story, everything you guys went through to get where you're at now. Love it. You came to the Dallas event. You guys started the business. Now you guys are becoming a coach. So that's truly amazing. What an amazing story. But other than that, guys, my name is John Hernandez. I am part of CashSwipe. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Residual Income for Beginners, and we will catch you guys on the next time. Peace out, guys.